Next, I'd like to invite Alex Priest over here. He's going to talk about tech and social media within education. He's actually a senior at AU, and he's probably one of the biggest advocates there is kind of on social media and education. He's going to talk all about that. So, Alex Priest.
I'm okay down there. I'm okay down there. I don't want to block the screen. Am I good? So I want to kick this off with a pretty bold statement. Learning is broken. And now this is something that a lot of people don't really think it's broken, especially in higher education. People are like, oh, well, you know, students are still doing well, they're still succeeding. Well, the fact of the matter is that there's issues. And I'm a student at American University. I love my school. I'm not here to diss them. But the fact of the matter is, when you walk into a classroom nowadays, it kind of looks like you're walking into a post-apocalyptic classroom like you see here. You see people staring straight ahead, mindless, lifeless, watching their professor talk at them, and it's not interesting. There's no life, there's no engagement, there's no excitement in the classroom today. So today I'm going to tell you about the problem, why learning is broken, a little bit about the solution, which is social learning, and then finally how to get there, which is through innovation and engagement, and some of the cool things that we're doing to actually get us to that point. But the first thing I want to talk about is a quick history lesson. So if you look up here, you see pictures of Jesus, you see the Egyptians, you see some nuns teaching things in the 50s, and a modern classroom today. Now, these all have one thing in common, and that's that you have a lot of people in a room with one person in front of them talking at them. And that's a problem. That's the first problem, actually. There's too much talking at you and not enough talking with you. There's not enough conversation in the classroom. There's not enough engagement and back and forth. There's too much of these lectures. And I mean, let's face it, lectures kind of suck unless you're at Ignite DC. So this is the first problem. Second problem is that students learn differently than our teachers teach. Teachers have been teaching the same way for thousands of years. Literally, same drill. They get up there, they lecture, they give you some homework, and then eventually they'll come back and you'll get a grade. We can't do that anymore. Students are learning differently every day, much less differently than 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. Finally, educators aren't getting social media. There's some out there that are making progress. They're really starting to get it. They're in the right direction. But for the most part, they can't separate the social from the media. They don't understand that it's not just a communications thing or a marketing thing. It's an ideal. So they come up with these excuses. They say that professors are supposed to give lectures, that they're supposed to be leading the classroom, that, you know, students' grades are still fine, and if it's not broken, then why bother fixing it? Well, the fact of the matter is that they just don't understand the tools and the technology at their disposal. They need to understand that social media is not just the platforms. It's not Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Putting a YouTube video on an LCD screen doesn't make you social media savvy. It doesn't mean that you get it. It's a mindset. You actually have to understand the social ideals that go into making a social learning environment. It's not about creating Facebook groups or Twitter chats or hashtags. That's a start. That's a great idea. It's a good first step. But that's not exactly it. You're not quite hinging on it. You don't understand that you have to center the entire classroom around the conversation. We actually have to rethink the classroom as a social space. You have to put office hours and guest lectures and current events and research all around this idea of the conversation. It should be engaging. It should be back and forth. It should be one-on-one between students, between professors, doing things together, working together, learning together and from each other. So where do we go from here? We're at this crossroads. We've got some professors and some students who really get it, and we've got some who really, really don't. There are some who are just steadfastly against it, and that's a problem. So we're doing some work to make sure that they start to get it. But the first thing is that you have to talk about it. Going from distraction, changing this perception of social media as a distraction in the classroom requires action. It requires talking. You have to do something about it. We need to get both these audiences in a room, students and professors alike, and get them talking about how we can make education better. We need to engage in and out of the classroom. We need to be using things like Facebook chats. Yes, that's a great first step. We should be using these tools to start engaging, both in the classroom and out, in person and not in person, through Twitter, through other platforms, whatever it takes to get that conversation moving. We need to create a back channel of conversation so that the people in the back of the room who don't always speak up have some place that they can talk and they can put their point of view out there and make a difference. We need to build that confidence in them so that they're ready to go, so that, skip the screen, so that they're ready to go and they can have that confidence to speak up. Finally, we need to talk about research. There's some brilliant people out there doing fantastic work showing that Twitter can actually make you smarter. They can raise your GPA. It can make you more engaged in the classroom. And we should be pointing this out and making sure people know about this. Finally, we need educators talking, and we need students talking about it too. They should be talking individually. They should be forming small groups and brainstorming. They should be talking back and forth. and they should be working together to recognize that learning is not perfect, that we have problems, that it's changed, and we can move forward. The SMC EDU hashtag is a fantastic place to learn this. And this is where I got started, and this is one of the things that inspires me every day, because there are innovative and amazing people on this hashtag talking about these issues every single week, week after week. Finally, we've got the AU Social Media Club, which we just started this past year, and it's a fantastic resource. We're really excited about it. We've launched faculty outreach, advocacy, innovation. We're hosting a conference. It's been huge, and we've had such tremendous support. And it's these kind of organizations that are moving people forward. So we learned that learning is broken. We learned that we need learning in a social space, and that we can use innovation and engagement to spur change. So, without further ado, go forth and be a social learner.